We're just about ready to go. This meeting of the Denver Township Board of Education is being held in accordance with the Open Closed Meeting Act. Notice this meeting was provided to daily records in the Registrar Ledger of Warren County, the Township Clerk, and has been posted to the bulletin board of the Board of Education office and at each school building in the district. Roll call.
Mr. Anderson.
Here.
Mr. Capello.
Here.
Mrs. Lindsay.
Here.
Mr. Cass. Here. Mr. Duarte. Here. Mrs. DeLuna.
Here.
Mr. Napolone.
Here. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. Ready to go, kids? Here we go. I
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Nice job.
Thank you. That was great. Quick couple things. We have to keep a little bit of a lane there, just in case I have to rush out of here quickly and I get mobbed or something. So if we can leave a little bit of a space just from a fire perspective, that would be great. I appreciate it. We've got a couple special presentations tonight that we're going to go through. Mr. A, I'm going to start you off if you don't mind.
Sorry, have you a microphone or no?
There might be one right there. No?
No.
Patrick, we got one over there? Microphone?
No. I can talk without one, that's fine. Yeah, just. All right. Thank you.
You got to project.
In education, in our Riverview School in particular, we always stress the importance of meeting the needs of the whole child. So not only looking out for the academic growth and development of our children, but also their social and emotional growth as well. At the beginning of the year, a few staff members came up with an idea, a vision, of a program that they wanted to implement at Riverview School called Caring Kids. And as a part of this program, these dedicated staff members were able to orchestrate and coordinate opportunities for students to interact with other students to further promote social skills and positive peer interactions. Now, the children that you see sitting before us, many of them took part in that program. And let me tell you something. These children embody good character, they exhibit good effort, and you will not find children who have better hearts of gold than these children who are sitting. So just before I go any further, as a group, I want to give them a little round of applause. Also, it takes a dedicated group of staff members to make a program like this possible. And I want to right now applaud the efforts of two very dedicated staff members who were able to make their vision, their goal, and their dream of this program an absolute reality for Riverview School and the students and their development. So without further ado, I want to introduce right now Riverview School's school psychologist and case manager, Mrs. Grace Johnson. Riverview School's ABA K-1-2 teacher, Mrs. Ann Rispoli.
All right, thank you, Mr. A. So
I
our
think that might be working. You're not as loud as Mr. A is.
I know. Is it on? Okay. So our caring kids serve as role models, and they spend every afternoon playing games and helping kids develop social skills at Riverview School. We're very proud of them. And they have showed us that a friend accepts us as we are, yet helps us to be what we should. And Mr. Foley?
So, do I need a mic? I'm the teacher voice. Okay. So, being a parent of a child with special needs, when I first came to Riverview, I knew the importance of making a connection, having a bond, having a friendship with other children. And the friendships and bonds that are formed in room 26 don't just stay in room 26, they also continue at lunch and during specials and even out into the community. So we just want to show you a little video Last Thursday was Take Your Child to School Day, and my children, my 16-year-old twins came, and they certainly did work. They took a video, they uploaded some pictures, and we just wanted to give you a little synopsis of what actually happened during that time.
Is a place where you can play with people.
If you ever find yourself,
It's not something that you do.
I'll sail the world to find you. If you ever find yourself lost in the dark and you can't see, I'll be the light to guide you. Find out what we're made of when we are called to help our friends in need. You can count on me like 1, 2, 3, I'll be there.
It's really good, and I hope lots of people do it next year. Lena!
Okay, so now we're going to recognize the Caring Kids for all the great things they've done this year, and we're going to be giving them a certificate.
Is it pretend or real? Yeah, I want to be a partner for the roller coaster.
Okay, here we go. First up is Brent Burchin. Because we have a lot of kids we're going to call, so we'll hold up until the end. Sorry about that. Okay. Connor Campbell. Liam Dunham, Hunter Hall, Jay Candler, Maisie Jewell, Brooke Marosis, Liam Northrup, Ethan Perry, Julian Bogle, Tyler Wilcox, Sarah Blood, Aiden Schroeder, Zoe Etheridge, Sam Fallon, Kyle Hardy, here. Shannon O'Leary, Lino Piazzi, Ruthie Sacco, Eli Singling, Julie Tran,
Okay, wait, it's not over yet. Besides playing games that you saw in the video, one of the highlights is some of the songs we do on the smartboard. So we just thought we'd show you a very short clip, but we need audience participation, which like everyone to stand up. Yeah, so Karen, go closer to the screen. Go closer to the screen. Put your certificate down. It's okay. I'll get it. I'll get
That girl, you're right in front. So good. Absolutely.
Okay, ready? 1, 2, 3.
So parents, this is a great opportunity to pull out your cameras. Hopefully we can get all the kids up here, maybe front row if you're not in the picture. We can get some good pictures with the
We
kids.
have all the Karen kids come back. Come back. Face the audience. Kind of just let's see if we can get like a couple rows. And you guys move back.
Amazing. Not super enthusiastic about
Are we good with the Any crazy hands in the air? Okay. You guys can stand there as long as you like. It's perfect. Yeah. You good? So parents, you're more than welcome to stay. We have a budget presentation that's going to be about 15 minutes or so, maybe a little bit longer. Or, I know it's school night, if you want to take a shower, get a dessert, just go to Dental Dairy, get some ice cream. Come on, parents, ice cream. We're going to take a quick 3 minute recess, hang out.
Oh my God, look at this. Was I in it? By the way, I like that shirt and tie. Nice, style.
Supposed to be Tony, how you doing?
Happy birthday. Happy birthday. You gotta give me that
Just a reminder, we have to keep a pathway over there just in case. Okay, we're just about ready to get started again. I think we're missing a couple board members, maybe a superintendent or two. BA. People who are much more important than we are.
You can pull that up. Patrick, you can pull that up.
So we're gonna, obviously back in session, but we're gonna listen to the budget presentation in just a moment. But just a quick thing, I was speaking to one of my new friends over there in the corner. We were talking about volunteering. Talked about Denville being a town of volunteers, and the idea that we have little kids in the youngest of grades learning that behavior, that moral of helping others. I think it's great for the town. The idea that we can continue that. Everybody I know, I look in the audience now, I see a lot of people who don't just do things for the schools, but do a lot for the kids outside of the schools, and that's a great thing. So I'm glad we're continuing that. So without further ado, Mr. Forte.
So we have a room capacity of 150. So that's why we have somebody here to try to help with that. If you guys would fill in these seats and leave that open, over there, we pretty much bent that rule for the big presentation, but I have to be responsible for the safety of everybody in here.
Yeah, don't be bashful.
There's 100 chairs, so I can pretty much tell how many people are in the room. Guessing.
Seats in front, seats up front. There we go.
I'm sure you can't see the presentation from back there in the
Keep
corner.
this area clear right here, so that there's egress. Where's Patrick? Do I have a thing?
There we go.
Do I have a thing or no? Click it?
No. I can go get one if you're waiting.
No, I don't think you can, but you're not on the front page. You're like splitting.
You want to set it up, Steve?
No, it's not, you have it split on 2 screens.
There's a PowerPoint and not a Can you open this a PowerPoint and not a PDF?
Go to view. View slideshow. Just go to view. And then full screen, and see what happens. Go to that. There you go.
The old advance appointments?
Yes.
Okay, so we presented this budget in a preliminary fashion a few times. We presented this particular presentation to the group at the Senior Citizen Center, and also to the group at Town Hall. Next slide, please. So this is basically our calendar. This will be posted online tomorrow, so anybody wants to see it, have some time, because I'm not going to read all the dates, but you can see that this is not something we put together at the last minute. We start this back in October for the following year. Okay. So here's our goals for the year, board-approved goals. To create a comprehensive communications plan, including benchmarks for implementation, using data to evaluate and identify areas of opportunity for improvement, and create a district culture of high expectations. Next slide, please. This slide breaks down our expenses. So out of our budget, you can see in the yellow, salaries is a big chunk, the largest chunk, and then employee benefits is another large chunk of about a quarter. And we bring this out because this is what we do here. We're a people-heavy business. That's what we do. We don't make anything, create anything, sell anything. We have people. Next slide, please. I put this slide in there because I think it's important to know that when we build these budgets, there's discretionary and non-discretionary. So you can see the recurring costs eat up 93.9% of our budget, and the discretionary spending is about 6.1%. That's professional development, computers, textbooks, supplies, things like that. That's our discretionary lines of about 6.1%. And then here's our revenue. I like this slide because it shows that in towns like this, in suburban Morris County like this, the overwhelming majority of the money comes directly from your local property taxes, 90%. And the other 10% comes from some state and federal funds. We also have, we did increase our outside revenue, new revenue from other sources by $100,000. But the reason why I think this is important is because in districts like Denville, that's what the pie looks like. If you look at other districts, the pie can be close to opposite of this, meaning that the majority of their funds comes from state and federal funds, not from the local taxpayers. So it's important to note that this town, and towns like this town, in our area right here, 90% of our budget, it can go up to 94, 95%, depending on what town you're in, but in our town, it's 90%. Here's our budget by category. It all lines up. Instruction, the lines are instruction, then special education, basic skills and ESL. You have your extracurricular, health, guidance, media, nurses, administration and technology, maintenance and transportation, employee benefits for all staff, that's all staff benefits, pension, medical insurance, Social Security, state and federal grants, and then state debt service pays off some of our that's a revenue line, right, John?
That's to pay off the debt that
Right.
the board.
Yeah, that's our payment each year, which this year is $561,000 to pay off the debt from it was 2009, the district refinanced the debt from the addition at Lakeview, I believe, which was somewhere around 2002. Those of you that remember that? I'm not sure, 2002, 2003? 2000, okay. Next slide, please. So here's some new things for next year. We have, so our curricular enhancements up top, we have something that we're going to do this year is called Sustainable Jersey. It's a program that it's a pretty big overall program that deals with a lot of things, but it all funnels down to like green and sustainability. We are offering a bio honors class for 8th grade. We have funds in there for that. And then we're also phasing in a 2-year new science textbook program at $85,000 this year, and we're committing to the money for next year. Technology, we have some upgrades to our infrastructure to allow us to use Wi-Fi more effectively. And we also have other projects and contingencies, summer technology person to help do the wiring rather than hiring the company that does the access points to wire them. If we hire somebody on our own to do the wiring, we'll save money there. So it's actually a savings. Security, we have some security enhancements. We're going to fix the way that the teachers sign in the morning. Instead of using a lobby guard, which it really wasn't meant for, we'll have a separate scanner for that. We have a new buildings and grounds person to help. It's actually not new. We have a person now, and this is just replacing the person with an outsourced person due to the fact that we were able to do something like this with $35,000 compared to more like $60,000. We have some money in there to lease a new truck. And I'd also like to point out, this is actually a reduction in revenue because we're going to reduce the extracurricular fee to the students who take place in middle school activities like clubs and sports and things like that, the play, cheerleading, and also for elementary school clubs, those fees will be cut in half. So we have some major buildings and grounds projects that we're going to do this year. Not major like building construction, but we have $559,000 worth of projects being done. I highlighted a few of them. We have the Valley View Gym and stage floor. We're going to fix the oil problem we have at Valley View. There's an oil leak there. We have new cafeteria tables here. District-wide, we're going to do paving and curbing and other site work. We have a drainage problem at Lakeview that causes the property to flood every couple of years whenever there's a large rainstorm. And then Riverview's north wall and stairs have been crumbling, and that'll be repaired. These are some of the projects we're going to do this year. So here's our tax impact. We have, this slide's kind of have a lot of information. It's more of a, you can read it too, but I'll go through a couple things. When the state came up with this way that you could go to 2%, they came up with this way that you could bank your cap, meaning if you say, I only want to take 1% of that, I could bank another percent for 3 years. That's where you get this thing where it's called banked cap. The other way you get banked cap is also through adjustments, waivers that they give you for increased medical costs and if you have a spike in enrollment. So all those things together, we have in banked cap $1.2 million extra revenue that we could use to fund this budget. Now, we're not planning on using all that. We are going to use some of it. And in the end, this budget represents a 3.6% increase in the tax levy, which when added to the 0.4 from last year is a 2% a year, 4% over 2 years. Next. So here's the projected tax increase for 15-16. Now this is partly due to the fact that the town reevaluation came through. I'm sorry, no, some of the assessed value went up, not the reevaluation, that's separate. Some of the assessed value went up, and last year it went down substantially. This year it leveled off and actually went back up. So we actually have a lesser tax impact with a higher budget. So we have a $65 on the average assessed value of $307,200. I put this chart in there because it's a group of districts that are like us. Every district that fits these categories is on this list. They all have to be in Central or South Jersey, anywhere from Somerset County to Bergen County. What did I say? Sorry, Central and North Jersey, from Somerset County to Bergen County. They all have to be K-8. They all have to have between 1,000 and 3,000 students, and they all have to be what's called an I-factor district, which is a similar demographic to Denville. So all these districts on the list here meet all those criteria. Branchburg, Gloucester, Florham Park, Franklin Lakes, Greenbrook, all the way down to Wyckoff. Now, if you know about some of these towns, you would say that we're probably not at the top of this list in terms of socioeconomics, but more towards maybe the bottom or the middle. But still, this is the league, this is the group, they all fit that category. The reason why I point this out is because this shows that in some of our areas, we haven't been funding it the way we should have, putting enough money into it to actually make repairs, fix things, and not have things that are held together by duct tape, things like that. So the one I'm really pointing out now is the maintenance line there. Out of those 15 districts, we were 15th in spending. So we're slowly making some progress in that area by increasing our spending in those areas. And you'll see it in the buildings. You'll see improved facilities, things that aren't held together by duct tape, etc. Next, please. This is just a did you know slide, kind of like a review. And this budget supports $559,000 in maintenance projects and $235,000 in technology projects. Calls for a withdrawal of $160,000 from maintenance and capital reserve combined. The activity structure will be, like I said there before, and we're also looking at different ways to bring in new revenue. So this year alone, we're looking at rentals of about $70,000 and tuition of about $100,000. So we will have new revenue coming into the district. And then the last thing I wrote, just so that everybody realizes that even after the withdrawal of $160,000, we'll still have $1.1 million in our two reserve accounts, which makes us a healthy financial district to do some of these repairs that we just spoke of. Next slide. I think that's it, right? Okay. I'll let people come up if they want to have questions.
So we'll have a public portion for that in just a second. You're right up again. John, do you have any BA comments for us today?
Yes, I do. We're going to ask that item number 9 and 10 under finance be pulled in light of the information we received today, and we want to review these appointments, and perhaps we'll have them on at the next meeting. We'll advise the board. So we're going to ask that item number 9 and 10 under finance be pulled from the agenda. Thank you.
Good? All right, ready, Steve? Yep. Superintendent comments, if you would.
So, in light of some recent developments with our attorney, today, we had a meeting with our attorney today. I'm recommending that we pull from the vote, the actual budget vote today, to not vote on the budget, so that we can discuss a legal opinion that may have an impact on our budget in private session. So my recommendation is that we do not vote on the budget tonight. If we voted on the next meeting in May 11th, we'll still fall with the legal time frame for the budget vote. Next, just some positive things that are going along here. We have Annie, which is Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. Tickets are on sale now. That's a middle school production. The Arbor Day ceremony at Riverview was, I felt like a big success. We had some media there. We had some of the members of the media that are here right now were there. They wrote some stories on it. Every Friday in the Friday folder we'll put out Denville Schools in the News. So if you missed it, you can take a look at it. Speaking of the Friday folder, on May 1st, which is this Friday, the Friday folder will look different. It will come out, and it will be using Constant Contact. It's a much different format than it was before. It'll be you won't have to go back and forth on the pages. If you're on one page, you'll be able to see everything. And there will also be articles actually in the Friday folder email itself. It won't just be a list of PDFs. Lakeview's Arts Night is Thursday. Due to the fact that there was a conflict with Annie and the Arts Night, the principal extended the hours to have a little bit of a preview for people who are conflicted out. They can go at 5:30. And to prevent this from happening in the future, Cindy and I are working on, this is our Director of Technology, working on a workflow system for the calendar so that when things get put on the calendar, we have to go through an approval process so we won't have things getting conflicted. That's my report.
Thank you. We're going to open up for public comment, and it is Can't see anything. 8:07. We'll open up for public comment. Just a reminder, I know we have a lot of folks here tonight, which you're all welcome to stand up and say what you'd like. Just please mention your name and address for the record, podium, and there is a maximum of 3 minutes that we'll have to adhere to if you have a lot of speakers. So, have at it. Just a reminder, it has to be in regards to the agenda.
Kim Liller at 9 Wildwood Terrace. And I'm Jennifer Priestner at 5 Whitman Drive. And we saw a posting, we're under the understanding that our teacher at Riverview will not be retained for next year. There are how many? 77 online signatures and 65 paper signatures. And we request that the Denver Board of Education reconsiders this decision. In today's society, it is imperative that teachers not only teach their students the curriculum required, but do so in a way that facilitates a level of learning and desire to continue their quest for knowledge outside of the school on their own time. Mr. Kolonkowski is a prime example of this type of teacher. He is caring and knowledgeable. His students learn from him and want to learn more after school as well. He has gone above and beyond his classroom duties by volunteering his own time to help create costumes and sets for kindergarten play. He's also worked with Girl Scout troops interested in learning more about painting and art so they could earn their painting badges. He has even taken the time to teach interested parents the techniques his students will be learning. Parents and students alike are devastated at the news that we may be losing this fine teacher next school year. Good teachers are a rare commodity. We are fortunate in the Denville School District to have many. However, even by the Denville standards, Mr. Kolonkowski is exceptional. Please allow him to continue teaching the children of Riverview School for many years to come.
Thank you. Very, very clear that, and I hope you know this, we cannot speak about any individual teacher. We can't talk about their specifics, any regards to performance, of course, nothing like that. I think everybody on the board, probably everybody in the audience knows that, it's been going around. Your opinions are always taken to heart, always listened to. We certainly appreciate it. Know that, there's always a process in regards to how every teacher in the district is evaluated. And that's probably all I would say in regards to that.
Can I say one more thing? Do I need to go back there to do it?
Just because I want to embarrass you a little bit.
Thanks. I just want to say one thing that I think everyone in this room knows, that the petition and the signatures we handed the board tonight probably won't make a difference. But what we wanted to accomplish with this was to show the board that, as Mr. Forte showed on this slide, property taxes fund 90% of this revenue of the budget. We are 90% of what we pay for in our school system. And although those signatures may not change whether our contract is renewed or not, the parents are listening, and we want to
I'm going to stop you for a second, because we're not talking about contracts or anything like that in regards to the agenda tonight. Am I wrong about that? We're more than welcome to talk about, but...
his contract.
Oh, you're talking about his contract, I'm sorry.
His contract,
Perfect.
right.
Good.
So, that's what I meant, sorry.
Thank you.
Mr. Kolonkowski's contract in particular. What we wanted to show the board was that parents are listening and support our teachers, and we want to make sure that we're partners in what happens in our schools. We want to make sure that it's not just 10 people deciding in an evaluation process whether someone's coming or going. We wanted to show our support and our union and solidarity for that kind of stuff. All right.
Any other takers? Name and address for the record, please.
My name is Gina Loader, 12 Square Lane. I prepared something, so I forget what I needed to say. I've been a teacher for 23 years. I've taught in Catholic, private, and currently in a public school setting.
When my husband and I decided to put our home up for sale, we decided that the town we lived in didn't meet our standards for a great education for our child. We finally made the decision to move to Denville 2 years ago. Because of the great reputation the district has, as well as the phenomenal group of teachers that teach at all of the schools. I've come to know many of the teachers in Riverview School through my volunteer work in the classroom and on various events. Mr. K, this is about Mr. Kolakowski, Mr. K exhibits a true dedicated art teacher who deserves to have a chance to share his talents and knowledge with the students at Riverview. My son loves art and has learned an amazing amount of information and knowledge. While my son was only in kindergarten last year, we visited a friend's house and he noticed a painting hanging on the wall. He said, "Mommy, that painting is painted by Monet." So tell me, how does a 5 to 6-year-old at that time know this type of painting if they didn't have an exemplary art teacher such as Mr. K? I would like you to please reconsider your decision and grant him tenure for next year. Thank you.
Any others? There's a whole bunch of people standing back there. You can stand up and say something, yeah? Nothing? It is 8:13 and we'll close the public portion of tonight's meeting. We'll have a second portion of for the public to speak as well that are for items that are not on the agenda. You're more than welcome to speak at that time. Stay, please. There's a lot of funny things we'll talk about, good things, important things to the district as well. Thanks, Mike. But that being said, we can move on to the agenda. Dino, yes, you want to take us through some, we'll just,
If there are no objections, I'd like to move items A, B, and C under old business. These are reports of the treasurer of school monies, the board secretary report, education reports, report of student enrollment, report of medical office, the HIV reports for Valley View 11 and 12 and Riverview 8. Also, C, minutes for the meetings from March 9th and March 23rd.
second for that?
Second.
Carlos?
Second.
Fantastic, thank you for that. Any questions? Roll call, please.
Mr. Anderson.
Yes.
Mr. Capello.
Yes.
Mrs. Lindsay.
Yes.
Mr. Cass.
Yes.
Mr. Duarte.
Yes.
Mrs. DeLuna.
Yes.
Mr. Napoli.
Yes. New business under personnel. Mr. Cass, can I take us through that, please?
If nobody objects, I'd like to move as a block 1 through 8, which includes salary adjustments, retirements, resignations, appointments, and other personnel matters.
We have a second for that?
Second.
You got some pretty interesting things in there, Mr. Cass, yeah? I know there's, I think we have an increase, I think we have a, Ms. Johnson, who's in the audience somewhere, is on there as well. You can read about that and congratulate her later. Thank you for her hard work. Any other things?
Yeah, I just wanted to thank Mrs. Eisenstadt for being a wonderful kindergarten teacher. My son had the pleasure of having her, and she was absolutely phenomenal. So much so that when he was in 5th grade, he wanted to be a kindergarten helper and then be in her class and help her out. So, and we see her because she lives by the lake, and she's great.
Yep. Although I'm a Lakeview family, I've heard many good things. Thank you for pointing that out.
We should probably also point out the other retirement. I think it's the only other one on here. Douglas Irwin, who was a bus driver who I know when my son had him was wonderful and caring and always had a smile on his face, so he was always a nice person to see first thing in the morning. And I think also under personnel, unless I'm wrong, is I'd like to call out that I'm happy tonight to be voting to accept the tenure of Mr. Scala, along with the bump in his salary for all his wonderful work at Lakeview.
He's doing a great job there in Mrs. Paisley's absence.
Yes.
Thank you for that. Any other comments from the board? Seeing none. Roll call, please.
Mr. Anderson.
Yes.
Mr. Capello.
Yes.
Mrs. Lindsay.
Yes.
Mr. Cass.
Yes.
Mr. Duarte.
Yes.
Mrs. DeLuna.
Yes.
Mr. Napoli.
Yes. Instruction program, also known as curriculum.
All right, if no one has any objections, I'd like to move 1 through 6 as a block. You'll find 6 on the pink addendum, or I don't know if the addendum is out there.
Yes.
I'll second.
Thank you,
Mr. Cass.
Mr. Cass.
Any questions, thoughts, statements?
Do you want me to? Okay, so we have, I think, 2, right? The one on the addendum and motion 4, just so people understand. The Title II funds that are being voted on here tonight are Morris Catholics. They're not Denville's. If they don't use them, Denville doesn't get them. They just move through our school, one of the special things the state has us do. So we're just guardians of the funds until Morris Catholic figures out how to use them. So those are those 2 motions. Have absolutely nothing to do with the Denville County District.
Questions about that? I don't. Look right at you, Carlos. Your blue shirt.
I have no question.
Wait, number 5.
Oh, yeah, we're gonna hold off on number 5, right, Diana?
Okay, so I will move 1 through 4 and 6 as a block, if you'll accept that, Mr. Cass?
Not a problem.
This is something just as an FYI to the those in the audience. We're going to have to go into executive session to discuss. We'll probably be coming out and voting afterwards, which is not typical, but unfortunately. And
I was thinking scrambly thoughts.
yeah, so it comes down to. So that is, we're going to hold off on number 5 until we go through executive session and come back. So 1 through 4 plus 6. Anything else? Roll call, please.
Mr. Anderson.
Yes.
Mr. Capello.
Yes.
Mrs. Lindsay.
Yes.
Mr. Cass.
Yes.
Mr. Duarte.
Yes.
Mrs. DeLuna.
Yes.
Mr. Napoloni.
Yes. Policy. Michael, what do you got?
So we have one policy for second reading and adoption, policy 5600, which is student discipline and code of conduct. We've already gone through the first reading for this and discussed it for a couple meetings now. And it's gone back to committee once already, so we've had quite a bit of discussion on this, but there's the one policy, 5600.
And regulation.
And regulation, yes.
Do we have a second for that?
I'll second that.
Thank you, madam. Any other questions? I know we've talked about it and dissected it and then talked about it and then dissected it. Appropriately. None? Roll call, please.
Mr. Anderson.
Yes.
Mr. Capello.
Yes.
Mrs. Lindsay.
Yes.
Mr. Cass.
Yes.
Mr. Duarte.
Yes.
Mrs. DeLuna.
Yes.
Mr. Napoloni.
Yes, 5600 is done. Nice work.
Woo, woo.
Operations, specifically technology. No, operations, including technology, excuse me. Carlos, what do you got for us?
The transportation survey. That's what's up.
You moving it?
I'd like to move it, yes.
Fantastic. Do we have a second for that?
Yes. Second.
Thank you, Tino. Questions, comments? I think we all saw the survey go through. Thank you, Tino, for the input. I think everyone else has added their comments as well. Yeah? Good? Okay. Going once. Roll call, please.
Mr. Anderson.
Yes.
Mr. Capello.
Yes.
Mrs. Lindsay.
Yes.
Mr. Cass.
Yes.
Mr. Duarte.
Yes.
Mrs. DeLuna.
Yes.
Mr. Napoloni.
Yep. Finance, Barb.
Okay, I'd like to move all the items on the agenda with the exception of 8, 9, and 10 as a block.
I'll second.
Thank you, Don. So this would be 1 through 7 plus number 11? Is that right?
Yeah. So 11 was the one that the school boards we talked about last time.
Yes. You know, I'm going to throw this one to Tino. Tino, do you want to walk us through this real quick?
Sure, absolutely. We discussed this resolution a little bit, I think, in the good of the cause at the end of the meeting. This is a resolution geared towards healthcare and pension benefits reform. You know, there are several provisions here. There are some that I think are a little more important than others. You know, generally, this is a resolution to kind of oppose the offloading of the responsibility of cost to local boards of education, specifically the teachers' benefit and annuity funds. The transferring these costs to the board would have a negative impact on our ability to run the districts. Also, we would support keeping the statutory requirements for contributions at the state level. So also there is a provision in here, provide that local school districts and property taxpayers have relief because of the current employee contributions. The state continues to make those contributions as they're required to. There's also a provision in here that we would support the legislature giving local school boards the unilateral authority to enroll in the school employee health benefits program if the board determines that such an action would generate financial savings.
Thank you. Whereas, resolved. Right. Any other comments, questions?
Yeah, I just wanted to note one thing on here that I'm always amazed when we have donations from families, considering we talked about how much in taxes we already pay. So I don't know them, but I want to thank the Chan family for their donation of $1,000 to Riverview School.
Once again, families step up and do.
Oh, and I'm sorry, the fish tank donation, the piano donation also, and the lacrosse equipment donated from the Renegades Lacrosse. So I'm always pleased when I see donations to the schools.
And lacrosse now is added to our gym, or phys ed curriculum, right?
Yeah, I have to say, I'm excited about that too, after years of this going back and forth to finally see we managed to get ourselves all on the same page. It's wonderful.
I just want to comment on the Chan family. I happened to see them on their last day here. They signed their 2 children out of Riverview, and they were walking out. I introduced myself. They said, "We're sad, we're leaving." And she said, "I had a great experience here. It was an amazing school." And I shook his hand. You can see that his wife wasn't super happy that they were moving, but it was a job transfer, and the kids weren't happy. And then we get notice that a day or 2 later, they're donating $1,000 on their way out the door, which I thought was pretty nice. So yeah, it was really amazing family there.
That's fantastic. Great story. No hugs, just handshakes, huh?
Yeah, just handshakes.
Any other questions, points, clarity, question marks? Roll call, please.
Mr. Anderson?
Yes.
Mr. Capello?
Yes.
Mrs. Lindsay?
Yes, except on the bills list, I will abstain on check number 65269, because it's my place of employment.
Thank you.
Mr. Cass?
Yes.
Mr. Duarte?
Yes, even on the milk account.
Mrs. DeLuna?
Yes.
And Mr. Napolone?
Yeah. Committee reports, good to the cause. Anything, committee reports? Anything? Correspondence, nothing. Discussion items, Board of Ed office, can we talk about that again?
Board of Ed office is progressing, which is good. I have a meeting with the town manager again to talk about hopefully working out a plan where we can move into town hall, which is a positive thing. We've been speaking about this I know you've been going back and forth on this for years. We mentioned it at the town hall meeting last week, and I think that we're moving in the right direction. Remember, we have a 3-year lease, so we're not in a rush. So the plan would be to again, develop the plans for it next year, do any kind of construction the following year, and move in July 1st, 2017, when their lease expires.
Thank you. Trailers, any comments on that?
The trailers, we're still working on. It looks like, again, we should have educational components out of Riverview, half the educational components out of Valley. But when I mean that, I mean things that kids do. We will use them for offices, we'll use them for meeting space, but we won't use them for student instruction right now. I mean, it's possible, just depending on what happens with our enrollment. But for right now, the plan is to get all student things out of Riverview. And in the 4 trailers here, 2 of them would be used for meeting space and storage. The other 2 will still be for classes, and the year after, hopefully, eliminate that. And then at Lakeview, they're pretty much status quo for 1 more year. They feel like the year after, they should be set to reduce it. And we will still do the demo on the 1 trailer, number 3, that is in very bad condition.
I always want to look at you when we talk about that one. I know that's your.
It's my
hate that
favorite.
one.
The 3rd trailer at Lakeview, the free one, that cost us how much to plan.
It's amazing. Any other comments from the board?
I guess I don't know where I was supposed to say this.
Please do.
So as the board liaison to the CPAC committee, I should report that they met last week. It was I thought, a very productive and wonderful meeting.
And Jennifer sent us some emails, I think, to the entire board, too.
Yes, she did, and,
Great, thank you for that, by the way.
okay, I will thank her for that. I see her at the CPAC meetings. So I just want to let the board know that Mr. Russell gave a brief presentation on the extended school year. We had also, as I went up to Mrs. Johnson and told her that I was very pleased that at that CPAC meeting, we had a discussion fairly in-depth about the program that we acknowledged with the students tonight. And she told us a lot about how they created the program and what it does with the students. And I was very thrilled and excited to come tonight to have the kids recognized for what they did and the staff recognized for what they've done. And I know if Jennifer could be here tonight, she would be letting us know as a board that they really hope that we can get something very similar. Why reinvent the wheel when it runs so smoothly? Into the other schools in the district, because it's equally needed there as it is everywhere. And I guess I'm sort of lax. I guess one of the things that, as you brought up that email that she mentioned in the email, was they were hoping to have a question added to the bus survey that we just passed tonight. So there you go.
Thank you.
It was a wonderful night.
Thank you. All right, it is, I don't want to keep looking, 8:29. Let's open it back up for public comment and germane to the district, green shirt, whatever.
I'm not going to ask about your shirt, no, I'm sorry. Do I have to say who I am again?
Yes, please.
Jennifer Priestner, 5 Whitman Drive. I had a question for Mr. Forte about his presentation. I don't think your mic's on. You said that the information is going to be online tomorrow. Is there going to be any backup information to that presentation or just the presentation?
There's a lot of backup information on there. The what's called the user-friendly budget, that's a state thing, that's on there. That's basically the entire budget, that's on the website. Any handout that we had, any presentation we had on the budget for this year is on the website. So this will be at the bottom. There's probably about 5 other things on there.
Okay. I was curious if you could elaborate at all about the tuition revenue. Where can you say what the tuition would be coming from, like from programs or something?
The tuition revenue is from a law that has been around for a while. It's basically on how you code students when they come into the district. One of the things is when students live in what's called like a doubled up environment, and if you have a process in place that catches that when they register, a doubled up environment means, for example, if there's 2 sisters, just give you an example, one of them gets divorced. This is just a typical example. One of them gets divorced and moves in with the other sister with their child. They're considered doubled up, which is actually a form of homelessness according to this law called the McKinney-Vento Act. And it's not easy to catch, I'm not using the right word, it's not easy to find these students. But if you have a mechanism in place to find them, there's funding available to the district to fund their education for 1 year. Even if they stay 10 years, you only get 1 year. But you can put this in motion. So because what we did was we put in a couple changes to the registration process that these types of cases, and again, this is very small, you're talking about 1% maybe of the cases. What we did was I trained all the secretaries that if anything like this came up that wasn't normal, I'm using that word again, it's if they don't have a lease or a deed, they automatically call me, I review it, and then we take a look at it from there. And there's funding available, so we found a way to get this funding.
Great, okay. And my other question was if you could elaborate at all on the park funding, that was the 200,000 line item, if you could explain more about what that would entail?
Right, well, the park, that was a couple things. So park is, I don't like to say that we're doing things for park. I like to say we're doing things to be technology ready in the 21st century, and moving on. So our Wi-Fi wasn't robust enough. Our back end of our network's not robust enough to handle the amount of users, simultaneous users. So in this district, we've never had 400 simultaneous wireless users. We've never done anything near that. So when we went from having maybe 50 simultaneous users to 400, we found problems. So we have made some changes, but again, I don't like to say it's for Park. I think in this year, 2015, we should be able to log on to Wi-Fi. So next year, in that budget, this building will be Wi-Fi 1-to-1 ready, meaning that you could do a 1-to-1 or a BYOD for this building, and we'll phase in the other buildings slowly as we go.
So really, it's more technology related for the park, more so than instructional or teachers or anything?
Right, so those lines were in the technology side. We have other things in the education side, like there's some computer programs that we've bought, over the years, but they're not just for Park. It's like to teach typing, those skills that students need, but the most important thing is that our back end stuff is really ready to handle the amount of users simultaneously.
Okay, all right, thanks.
Good.
You could ask these questions earlier.
I was thinking.
Oh, all right. Any other? Perfect.
Sorry. It's like the Kim and Jen show.
Nice. You guys might as well just pull a chair up here. Name and address, just for the record, please.
Kim Lure, still 9 Wildwood Terrace. I'm just realized I never put my last name on there. I heard you mention the transportation survey, and I've seen things going back, I think they were the Friday folders, that you're changing bus stops and consolidating. How are you making the determination of which bus stops are getting eliminated? My concern is actually because there's really only one safe place to pick up my kids. My daughter's in 3rd grade, so we've had 5 bus cards at this point, because she did an after-school class that had busing, and every single one of them has put our bus stop on the wrong Wildwood Terrace, which would require my children to walk through the bear-ridden woods to get to the stop, and I just want to make sure that our actual stop is still a viable stop. And I think I actually spoke with you on the phone about this at one point, John, right?
Yes,
okay. Because, I mean, and I know there's other bus stops on the main road, but there's no sidewalks, there's nowhere to walk, there's no shoulders, there's no anything. So I'm just concerned of how those decisions are going to be made.
So safety and efficiency. Safety being the most important thing, efficiency second. So when possible, and I use my neighborhood for example, and Dino lives right down the street from me, we see 3 buses go by our house that don't pick up our kids. And then we see a bus with about 5 kids on it that pick up our kids separately.
Okay.
1 block away. I can see Dino in the morning. I can wave to him, and there's a different bus for Dino than there is for me. So we're just looking at efficiency and safety, but listen, there's a lot of areas where the bus can't turn around, so the bus cannot go into certain areas. They can't go up certain streets. I'll give you an example. Like there's a street, the last street going up Route 46. I think it's Woodside or Woodstone. I took a ride up there the other day because there was a busing issue. I drove up. There's no way you could turn a bus around up there. So Indian Lake, there's a lot of areas where you can't turn a bus around. We found out that you can't turn buses around. Yeah, Cedar Lake has small areas too.
The problem with Cedar Lake is all of the maps show Wildwood Terrace coming in from Cedar Lake East past my house, and that's not how they built the roads, so GPS systems don't work. When they pull up every year, I'm on the phone.
I think you should drive there. Maybe you should drive there too.
So again, safety and efficiency are
Just
the
to
things
make
we
sure
look at.
because that street is not correct on any maps anywhere. So it keeps putting my kids through the woods, and it's a phone call I have to, I just want to make sure that they're not eliminating the actual real stop. Because
It's certainly
we have a lot of
problem.
bears. I don't want them walking through the woods.
When every map everywhere has got the road going through, that's usually a big problem. I have the same thing by Nicole.
I will have our
Right in the
bus
woods.
person give you a call.
Thank you.
And you're at what street?
9 Wildwood Terrace.
9 Wildwood.
Terrace.
Well, there's 2 Wildwood Terraces. I'm on the one connected to Cedar Lake Road, not Cedar Lake East, which is the problem.
He'll call you in the next few days. I'll
Thank
know,
you very much.
okay?
Thank you.
Thanks. Any other questions from the audience? Comments from the audience? Okay. 8:36, I'm going to close for the public portion and move up to the board comments. I'm going to go first real quick, just because I saw something. As we know, the Valley View Play is coming up this week, and so I was asked if anybody's going to be attending from the board, and who and how many, so I know. FYI, we did, the board members each paid individually for altogether for a page that's going to be in the playbill. I've seen that money over today, so it's not in my pocket anymore. But if you could, just give me an idea of whether or not you're going to be able to make it or not. You don't have to tell me right now, I'm not going to put you in the spot. Just shoot me an email, let me know as soon as possible. Yeah, thank you. That's all I got. Oh, Barb.
I was just gonna say, while we're doing kudos, she's gonna be recognized this week.
Super talented, master, right.
Master.
Master
School
board
board
member.
member.
So Mariana has gone out of her way to teach all of us something, and now she's apparently a master as a result of it. She is being recognized actually on April 30th with the designation of master board member, and for one, I appreciate serving with you, but congratulations.
Thank you.
You want to say any comments, speech? No, nothing?
No.
All the hard work, all the classes, all the credits you've taken to get to this point, all the
It's
extra
all
time.
worthwhile.
Well worth the paycheck you're getting for this, right?
Yes, it is. Every penny I get has made it worthwhile.
You want to make any comments while we're at you're sitting with you now? Board comments?
Oh, you get all my words of wisdom constantly barraged at you. We don't even hear on the videotape.
Usually they're revolved around the policy, but either way, it's okay. Mike, do you have anything for us?
I just wanted to thank the public who came out and spoke tonight, as well as, for the sake of YouTube, the public comments that I received all week via text, email, and Facebook. So we do take them seriously. We spend a lot of time thinking about it, talking to the public, so I do appreciate it.
And that's a very good point that you brought up. And every time, we ran into each other on Saturday, right?
Yeah.
I think. And, every time we have something like that where a parent reaches out to a board member, it ends up being a good thing because we ask questions, more questions than maybe we would have. In these particular cases, we always ask a ton of questions. But when it comes to personnel and changes within the district that affect lives, we asked a lot of those questions. So know that was done. And in addition to that, when we saw each other, I think I ran into you right afterwards. And we had a conversation about it as well. So it's important, and doesn't fall on deaf ears. Coming to these meetings, asking questions, doing all those things is not. Trust me. It's an important part of, I think, everything that the administrators do. I think they try to get it right as best as possible. All right? Barb, anything? Donald, anything for tonight?
No, nothing.
Dino?
I think you said it perfectly.
Carlos?
I'm good, thank you.
It says Dino from here, this end. Oh, here it is. Sandy, you're sitting at the table for the first time this evening, and I appreciate you doing that. And I want to put you on the spot now. Do you have any comments for us?
You can share on
I would publicly thank all the parents and community members that have been attending our Parent Academy for Student Success. Our last meeting of the year is May 6th, which is K-5 standards-based report cards. So it has been exciting to roll out initiatives and get input from parents. It's been a good forum. So I do appreciate the parents that have been coming out for that.
Any reason why we wouldn't put a assistant superintendent's comment section on here?
No, I'm okay with it.
We'll add it.
It's good to me. It's assistant superintendent
Because you have
highly looking at curriculum, so I'm all about that, so comments are always welcome.
Fantastic. So let's put it in the front also. We'll put it right in there, John's section. I can say something to her too.
An additional invitation for, we are rolling out a high school biology honors program at the middle school, an informational meeting for 7th grade parents going into 8th grade. The first one will be held on May 7th at 1:30 at Valley View here in the library. And the second meeting will be in the evening on May 12th at 6:30 p.m.
So Sandy, just quick thank you. You do a lot of work with a lot of these parent meetings in relation to park and everything else, these included. I think the outreach is obviously important. I think in this day and age it's easy to throw out an email or point someone to a website, but I think the idea that you're trying to hold these meetings and have parents asking questions is a good thing. So thank you for doing that.
I would agree. Thank you for doing that, making the outreach.
We've had good attendance, and they've been not just good attendance, but I've seen actual discussions, and it's been a positive. I think it's been a positive experience for everybody. The last one, which didn't have a huge crowd, I would say 30 people, working in groups. You gave them homework. I had some homework. It was good. So yeah, I mean, it was You know, anytime you get people together talking about education and success of students, it's a positive thing. I think you did a great job with that.
Yeah, I totally agree. Thank you. I think we're all good, so.
I know this is highly irregular, but something she said reminded me of another thing that happened at the CPAC meeting. You talked about information night for parents about the new class. There was a discussion there that night about how the district used to have, we were talking about the transition. Transitions are hard on many students, and especially so on a lot of special education students. The transition from the elementary schools up to the middle school, the discussion revolved around, and I know this is the way it was in the high school many years ago when my older son went to the high school, that we do have a parents' night for parents of incoming sixth graders that happens, I believe, in the spring sometime. They said they used to, which is also what the high school used to do, have starting like a half an hour before or 40 minutes before, an extra piece for kids that are transitioning up here that are special education. So I don't know if that's something that the district will consider looking at, if it's feasible or what they have to say to parents of special ed kids, that they might want to block off some extra time. So that was something that they brought up at the meeting that I forgot totally until you said.
It's very good. I'm sure Sandy or Andy or Steve will get back to you about that one. That's good. I think you're right. There was also something about the transitions. I thought you were going to go about the busing thing, but it's a different conversation.
Yeah, no, that's.
No. It is 8:43, and I'll close the board comment section. We are going to have to go into executive session, like I said earlier. We are going to come out and vote on what are the items from, I think it was finance, right?
No, instruction and program motion number 5.
There you go, motion number 5 within instruction program, also known as curriculum.
I had it.
So you are more than welcome to stay in the hallway. I'm not sure how long it will be. Hopefully it'll be quickly. I'm doubting it will be.
Well, we have a need for, we can do, this is a good time to talk about it. We can do one of two things. We have a need for several things to discuss in private, but we could discuss that, come back out, and then go in again, because the other ones will have no action taken. If you want to do two, you want to do a short one, and then come out and make your vote, and then go back into executive, because the second one won't require a vote.
I can leave it up to the public. Is anyone going to stay for us to come back and vote?
How long is it going to take for you to vote?
I don't know how long we might be in there. It could be 5 minutes, it could be 20 minutes. Is that it? All right, so if we're going to have anyone stay, then I'd rather, we'll go in, we'll talk about the one section, we'll come back out and vote, and then we'll go back into executive session. So, Carlos, look at me right in the eyes. If you don't mind moving us into executive session, I'd appreciate it.
I'd like to make a motion to move us to convene an executive session in accordance with Section 8 of the Open Public Meetings Act. The purpose of this closed session will be to discuss
Legal and legal issues.
Just legal.
legal issues.
We're just doing the one we're going to come back out.
All right, just legal.
Legal issues. The minutes of the session will be made available to the public when the need for confidentiality no longer exists.
Is there a second for that?
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? All right, we will be.
abstain.
Abstaining for Mary Ellen.
Well, I'm not going to attend the meeting either, so.
All right, so she'll wait in the hallway. It is 8:45, we're moving into executive session. If I don't see you, have a good night, thank you for coming.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Okay.
We're recording.
It's 8:57, we're out of executive session. Mary Ellen, you had stepped out, you are now stepped back into the meeting, thank you.
Thank you.
I'm going to ask if you don't mind to move number 4?
5.
Number 5 from instruction and program, also known as curriculum, please.
Okay, so if no one has any objections, I'd like to move motion number 5 on the bottom of page 6 under instruction and program.
Do you have a second for that?
I'll second.
Thank you, Don. This was discussed. I am going to move to a roll call vote if we may.
Mr. Anderson?
Yes.
Mr. Capello?
Yes.
Mrs. Lindsay?
Abstain.
Mr. Cass?
Yes.
Mr. Duarte?
Yes.
Mrs. DeLuna?
Yes.
Mr. Napoloni?
Yes. All right, so, thank you for the audience for staying. I need to tell you that we're going to have to move back into executive session, but your due diligence is very much appreciated. So, Don, how about moving us to executive session if you don't mind, please? Thank you for coming.
No
How about I
problem.
don't, we'll all go home.
That's
I'll make a
possible.
motion to-
That works for me, Don.
Whatever we all say.
That's a master.
All right, I'm gonna move to
idea.
convene executive session in accordance with Section 8 of the Open Public Meetings Act. The purpose of this closed session will be to discuss legal
And negotiations.
and negotiations.
It is, oh, do I have a
I need
second for that?
Second.
Carlos, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed?
Yay, no, yay.
No, we got one day. Okay. You gotta keep with the,
You feel better now?
good deal. It's 8:59, we're now in executive session.
A motion to go home.
Don is making a motion to adjourn the meeting. Do we have a second for that?
Second.
That.
Dino, second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The, is 9:48. Meeting is now adjourned. Thank you. Have a good evening. See you.